Hello everyone. Today we have Mr. Himanshu with us, and Mr. Himanshu is working as a technical product manager for Kotak Mahindra Bank. He is working in Bangalore only. So prior to joining Kotak Mahindra Bank, he has done his MS in Chemical Engineering from IIT Madras, and before that he has done his Bachelor of Technology in Chemical Engineering from IIT Lucknow. So we will get to know more about this role and how he got placed, his journey of getting placed into Kotak Mahindra Bank. So we'll get to know more about this profile and all from him in detail. So thank you, Himanshu. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Sudhakar, for the wonderful introduction. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this interaction.
Yeah, sure, Himanshu. So Himanshu, we can first talk a bit about your role, the profile actually, the technical product manager, what you do on regular basis and the skills, all these things like we can talk a bit about this thing first.
Let me start by how I got this role actually.
Yeah.
So, I applied for placement last year during December. So, in IIT Madras, placements happen in December. So, Kotak came for a role of product manager for digital technologies, basically AI, ML, and my master's thesis, my research work was related to machine learning and artificial intelligence only. So I sat for this role. Now, the main calm of a technical product manager is to give requirements, some product requirements to the developers.
Okay.
So, for example, bank needs something.
Right.
They need some, maybe some new mobile application or something
Yes.
simple, like some new feature in the mobile application.
Yeah.
So what they will do is they will talk to the various business heads, business departments. See, what is your requirement? What do you expect from a new feature? Why do you need it? And once that is finalized, they create a document known as product requirement document, which is in short is called a PRD, and they circulate it to the developers which are working with them.
Okay.
And then it is the job of the developers to build on it, while the product manager ensures that a certain quality, a certain level of expectations he has, which are met.
Yeah.
And he also plays a very important role in taking this product from those
Yes.
document to reality. For
Right.
example, if
Right.
the developers have built some new application, some they have added some new feature in the application, so they
Yeah.
will make sure that there are various stages. For example, one of the stages is UAT, which is known as user acceptance testing. So product manager will make sure that what are the test cases which should be passed
Yes.
before making this into live or
Yeah.
production.
Yeah.
So this is the role of a technical product manager basically.
Yeah.
Now coming to my specific role, I was hired to do some to develop some AI ML kind of technologies.
Okay.
So for example, let me give you an example.
Sure.
Uh, Say a user is making banks on a regular basis send some offers to the users. Hey, you are
Yeah.
eligible
Right.
for a credit card.
Yeah.
Hey, you are eligible for a new debit card. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And these offers are sent through some outbound channels, for example, SMS, emails, push
Correct.
notifications,
Correct.
WhatsApp, sometimes WhatsApp.
Yes. Yes.
So, a good example is whenever bank sends these offers to the eligible customers, which can be in thousands or millions,
Correct. Yeah.
all of them won't convert, right? If I'm sending a credit card offer to say 10,000 people, all
Yeah.
10,000 people won't be wake up like, oh my God, I'm eligible for a credit card. Let me
Right.
just apply. So
Yes.
some of them will open that link, see what is it.
Right.
Even less will open and see what
And
is it and then apply.
right.
And even a smaller fraction will actually complete the application and actually get the product. And
Right.
mostly, majority of the people, maybe 80%, 90%, 95% will ignore it.
Yes.
So everything, whatever we do now, has some statistics in it. For
True. True.
example, if you send a message at some certain time now, if a person
Yeah.
is in working, is in the job,
Yeah.
he
Right.
may ignore it, right?
Yeah.
And say if you send it very late at night, the person is sleeping, he will get irritated. Why the hell am I
Yes.
receiving the message from my bank at this time?
Right.
So one good AI ML application as a product manager could be if these are the offers and these are the customers, at what time should I send them these offers? What time should I target these people so that
Yeah.
they have a higher probability of opening that
Yes.
offer?
Right.
So this was sort of work which I was hired to do.
Yeah. So what are the skills which they were expecting from the candidates while you were applying for this profile?
I think since this was AI ML thing, the
Yeah.
first thing which they expected, which was highly asked in the interview, was the technical skills. How much do you actually know, like know AI ML technologies?
Okay.
And we
Okay.
majorly do AI, like we do AI ML on like lot of platforms like R, Python, even
Python.
MATLAB.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But majorly, the majority of the community uses Python. They have a
Yeah.
good support. So
Yes.
they
Yes.
asked me like Python stuff. Apart from that, they asked me the basic AI/ML technologies like what is random forest, what is
Okay. Okay.
deep
Okay.
learning, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah, we can talk about these things in detail in the interview part. So like what I infer is that they were expecting students to be good in the machine learning concepts.
More than that, like in any interview, soft skills matter a lot. How are you
Yes.
portraying
Yes.
yourself? Because in a product manager role, you have to interact very closely with the clients,
Right.
business,
Right.
and the developers. So
Yeah.
that interpersonal skills, communication skills, how good you are in presenting yourself, how
Yeah.
well are you able to understand things. So these things also they tested
Definitely.
during the
Definitely.
interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so as you mentioned that you appeared for campus placements for this role, like that was somewhat in 2022 December, right?
yeah,
Yes, and in then in July 2023, after completing your MS, you joined Kotak Mahindra Bank, right?
exactly.
Yes, sure. So now we can talk a bit about the recruitment process which Kotak Mahindra would have conducted in your case. So can you please walk us through the steps, as in like did they conduct any resume shortlisting and any CPI cutoff was there or the written test? We can talk a bit about the high level process of the this profile.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I apologize in advance if I'm missing some details, but I think
okay.
I can provide a high level overview because
Definitely,
it's been
definitely.
a lot of
More
time.
it, of course, of course.
So I remember Kotak came to IIT Madras for 6, 7 roles. Okay.
Oh,
There were
okay.
various roles like BIU, data scientist, SDE, product manager. In product manager, there were various verticals, credit card, debit
Oh,
card, digital technologies like that.
yeah.
So there was a eligibility criteria first of all. So I am a postgraduate master's. So for
Yes,
some roles, they were only accepting the bachelor candidates, that is BTech.
yes,
But for majority of the roles, they had opened it for everyone and every
yes,
branch.
yes, yes.
I remember like maybe for SD profile, they were expecting computer science graduates and electrical engineering graduates, but I'm not very sure about that.
Okay,
Regarding to this role, so there was, of course, a resume shortlisting where
yeah,
they
okay,
went through your resume and then they actually uh, made you progress to the next step, which was written examination in most of the
okay,
cases.
okay.
For example, I sat for data science profile as well because it was matching me since because of my machine learning background.
Yes, yes, definitely.
In data science background, in data science, there was an exam. After resume shortlisting, there was an exam, and then you progress to the interviews. But in product manager role, there was no written examination per se. There was a resume shortlisting. They officially did not declare any CGPA cutoff, but
Okay.
according to my experience, I think they were considering people with CGPA greater than 8.5 or 9.
Oh, okay.
That's
For
what I thought
product manager, right?
for product manager. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was unofficial
Yes, yes.
unofficial cutoff
Correct,
because
correct. But
it was
yeah,
not
we,
written on paper. Because
yes, yes,
like most of the people whom I know who were
right.
shortlisted, they had a big
Yes,
CGPA gap from the people
yes,
were not. So
right,
to be on the safe side, if a candidate is interested in this role, he should make sure that his CGPA doesn't fall below 8.5, which is true
right.
for any other company. Most of the companies have this.
Yeah,
Apart from that, after CGPA shortlisting and this resume shortlisting basically,
yeah,
CGPA was unofficial. We had 3 rounds of interview.
So we can talk about your interview then. Like as you mentioned that there were resume shortlisting and there were unofficial CPI cutoff, and of course then you got shortlisted for the interviews.
Yeah, so as I said before, there were 3 rounds of interview.
Okay.
So let me recall to my best of my capabilities.
Yeah.
In the first round, we had an interview. There were 2 people.
Okay.
Both were product man. One was a manager. Second was a senior manager in my case.
Okay.
So this was the panel one. So the manager asked me questions about machine learning only, and the
Okay.
senior manager, he was like majorly into product management questions. So
Okay.
the interview started with some very basic questions. What is machine learning? Why we do it? What is random forest regression? Very common machine learning questions. What is classification? What is regression? What is dimensionality reduction?
Yeah.
Etc. etc. And the second senior manager, he asked questions related to product management. So he started with a bomb itself. He asked me, take any product, financial product which is in the existence,
Okay.
and tell me what will you change in that make it better. So it was a very open-ended and broad question, and it
Of
was very
course.
easy to deviate from the topic or make statements that would like tarnish whatever you have said before.
Yeah.
So I remember that I gave him an option. Okay, I can talk about Amazon or Paytm.
Okay.
So I asked him, like, it's very important in an interview to cross question. Most of the people I've
Yes.
seen is they will
Yes.
just take the question and start answering. So
Correct.
it's very
Correct.
important to cross question so that you get more clarity what the other person
Yes.
expects, and
Yes.
how you also get some more time to think about it as well.
Right. Right. Right.
So I asked him, like, these are the 2 things. Which one would you like to hear about? So he said, since we are a bank, let's talk about the Paytm app. What changes you want to do? Then I made some arguments. This is the things which I want to change.
Okay.
Then a very like good discussion happened. Why this will work? Why do you want to do this? Why this will work? Why this will not work? And how we can make it work actually. For example, I'll give you one example.
Okay.
I gave one example. Everyone uses Paytm. So I told him ki in Paytm, the home when you open the product, the landing page of the app is very confusing. It has so many options: pay, scan, movie tickets, flight
Yeah.
tickets. Like like it I think it has around 40, 50 buttons there.
Icons on the
So
homepage itself. Yeah.
yeah. And I like found I like stated there. I made a point. He The youngsters are able to figure it out, okay.
Yeah.
But what
True.
about the old age people
Yes.
who are not able to understand technology that well?
Yeah.
Technology haunts old age people. We must know. Our grandfather doesn't use an iPhone or not.
Definitely. Definitely. They won't use. I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about those people? It will be
Mm.
so confusing for them. They will open it, they will get a nightmare, and they will never open it again. So I
Yes.
said, what if we simplify it? We make one page where only payment options are there. Scan QR code, send payment to your contacts, check your balance, maybe like this, a simplified
Yeah.
thing. And there may be a section where if you go, there are booking section. If you click
Yeah.
on that booking section, you go to another landing page where
Yes.
you get what you want to book: ticket,
Uh,
cylinder, electricity, like what you want to book actually,
yes. Yes.
flight tickets, etc. Why put
Mm.
everything in a one page? So,
Mm.
like very insightful conversation happened around that. Ki, why it will work, what may work, why it won't work. So I don't remember the details, but this was kind of question. Then I gave another point, ki, what I can change. So it went on like this,
Yes.
and there
Yes.
was like back and forth. I would say
Right.
something which he would disagree.
Counter.
He
Yeah.
would say something which I won't understand. So I would ask him, hey, why
Yes.
you think this will work? So in an
Yeah.
interview, basically, like what I'll say to the potential candidates who are going to apply for these kind of roles, it's very important to have a two-way conversation. it's not like recruiter asked you a question and you just started answering and answering. You should have a conversation.
Yes,
You make a
yes,
point, let let him give his remarks, then you counter him. Ki, why you think this will work? This way, na, you display कि you have some
yes,
knowledge.
yes.
You are not
Right,
like
right.
कुछ रट्टा लगा के नहीं आ गए हो.
Yeah,
You
right,
have
right,
some
right.
knowledge. So this
Yeah.
was the kind of question which
Mm,
happened.
mm.
So a funny story. जब मैं ये इंटरव्यू दे रहा था, then I
Uh-huh.
thought कि यार ये इंटरव्यू मेरा हुआ था शाम के 6 साढ़े 6 बजे.
Okay.
एंड यार फॉर्मल्स में ब्लेजर टाई लगा के
Mm,
गया था और चेन्नई की गर्मी में एकदम गर्मी
yes,
लग गई
yes.
थी तगड़ी
Mm,
वाली.
mm.
फिर हुआ कि अब तो कल होगा नेक्स्ट राउंड. कुछ पता नहीं था कि कब होगा नेक्स्ट राउंड. मैं गया नीचे साइकिल उठाया और जाने लग गया. आई थॉट कि अब कल देखा जाएगा, रेस्ट
Okay.
करते हैं. बट तभी मेरे पास कोऑर्डिनेटर का कॉल आया कि गो फॉर द सेकेंड राउंड. I had opened my cycle. I was going halfway. Then I got a call. Ki, come for second round. Then
Okay.
immediately rushed back. Then I set up everything again, laptop and everything, and I sat for the second round. So then second round started. Shall I talk
Mm.
about the second round as well?
Sure, 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 sure. Yeah.
So in the second round, the designation of the person was AVP, Associate Vice
Yeah.
President.
Okay.
He
Okay.
was actually one of my when I joined Kotak. He was my manager, one of my
Oh,
managers.
okay.
So his background was a data scientist. He was working as a product manager, but his major background was a data scientist. He had some 8 or 9 years of experience in the industry.
Okay.
So the level of questions he asked was very good actually because of his experience. He also asked mostly about product management. Sorry. He mostly asked about machine learning.
Okay.
So I forgot to tell you one thing. In the first round, they asked me one question at the end. Do you want to target technical role, AIML related, or you
Okay.
want to target core product based role? On
Oh,
that
okay.
basis, you go to the second panel.
Yes,
So I said,
yes.
I want to go for technical role. So I got the AVP who took my interview,
Okay.
and he
Okay.
talked about the ML AI aspects. Okay.
Yes.
So that interview took a different turn. So
Okay.
he asked me, he had my resume. He asked me about what kind of machine learning I actually did in my uh, master's
Masters.
research.
Yeah.
Okay. So another important point for the candidates who are targeting this role or any role, always prepare a short presentation, especially if you are a master's student who
Oh,
is into
okay.
research, or if
Okay.
you are a BTech who is mostly into research, who has done some research problem.
Yeah.
Make a short presentation about your research or project, whatever you call it in
Yes.
your college.
Yes. Yeah.
Have that ready, 5, 6 slides, because interviewer may ask you what you have done, what you have stated in your
Yes.
resume,
Right.
and if you start giving hard hand waving argument, now first thing
Yes.
is that he won't understand properly.
Correct.
You will be,
Correct.
because you will also be in panic mode. कि यार यार जॉब है नहीं लगा तो क्या होगा. So you won't be able to understand कि क्या
Yeah.
बोल रहे हैं, और it's very easy to miss out certain things.
Correct.
So it's very important to have a slide. Then you can have a flow. तुम्हें पता है दिख रहा है कि ये बोल रहा है. So
Hmm.
I had a
Hmm.
slide. I gave him a presentation what I had done, what is the major problem, and how I fixed it. He
Okay.
liked it. I think he liked it a lot,
Yeah.
and he asked me follow-up questions on the same. Why you have done this? For example, I had used autoencoders. Now, an
Okay.
autoencoder is to reduce the dimension. So he asked me, why do we do dimensionality reduction? Why
Oh.
you use, how you tuned this?
Yeah.
Then some technical questions. What is a drop off? How is it impactful? What is the transferability of this model? So
Okay.
the conversation revolved around my research, and since my research was like deep learning, it revolved basically about this deep learning
Okay.
theory related to deep learning,
Yeah.
etc., etc. Like what is gradient descent, what is Adam optimizer.
Yeah.
So be sure you prepare whatever you have written, whatever you've
Yes.
done, you go
Yes.
through it once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the second round.
Yeah.
Now after second round, I knew ki they might call me for third round. Okay, so I
Okay.
stayed there,
Oh.
and I was in the waiting room lobby of the Zoom call, and
Yeah.
the HR told me ki I will have one more round of interview,
Okay.
which will be taken by the most senior person who was there. Okay,
Okay.
so there were mixed feelings from my side. First, I was happy, कि, okay, I'm progressing. Some
Right.
progress is happening. Rejection is not coming.
Right.
But also, I was like, यार कितनी round लोगे यार? How many
Uh,
rounds will you take?
right.
So
Right. Right.
anyway, I went into the third round. The third round was taken by senior leadership. He was the senior vice president of Kotak, and
Okay.
he was basically checking if I am a good fit or not. So again, I presented my resume to him. I gave a brief introduction about me. Yeah, I forgot to tell this. Whenever you are sitting in an interview, prepare a 1 minute, like 60-second, 40-second
Yes.
brief introduction about yourself.
Yes.
It
Yes.
should tell it should ideally summarize your resume in chronological order, what you
Yeah.
have done and what you have learned, and then in the end you relate it. Okay, that's what brings me here interviewing for this role. You should relate it. It should tell a story. Okay, how whatever you have done makes you perfect fit for this role, and that's why you are applying here. Even if you have applied for 10 positions and you're sitting in tens of placement rounds, you should always relate ki how I'm sitting for this round, how I'm relevant for this round.
Yes.
So I gave
Yes.
my brief introduction and they asked me like basic questions ki where I'm from, what I want to, what I'm looking for. Then he told me what kind of projects he's working on. It was kind of compatibility check. Are we compatible
Yes.
or not?
Yes.
And in the end, like he asked me, do you have any questions or not? One more point, like it's also important कि whenever the interview,
Yeah.
it should not
Yeah.
be one way. Interviewer
Yes.
should ask you
Yes.
question, but in the end, you should always ask one or two follow-up
Yes.
questions to the interviewers.
Yeah.
So I asked him a few questions, and it was a pretty short round. It got over in 5 minutes. Then I
Oh.
asked, sir, like, am I allowed to go or shall I stay? Then he said, okay, let me ask HR. And I was again in the waiting room. And after 2-3 minutes talking internally, finally HR said, ki, okay, Himanshu, you can go. Congratulations.
Oh.
This is the only thing she said. And then, like, I was in a state, ki, am I selected? I don't have any, I have to wait till
Yes.
midnight to get the
Confirmation.
results,
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
the confirmation. But why will she say, like, yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations and all? So I was thinking, discussing with my friends. And
Okay.
this is how my interview went. I think it got over around 8:30 from
Oh.
6:30 to maybe 8:30 like that.
Okay. Okay.
But at the midnight, I got the list. Some
Oh.
6 or 8 people were selected for product management role.
Yeah, so as you mentioned that there were like these three rounds were there. So in any round, did they talk about your programming skills or maybe any programming skills they talk about or any language?
So since I was able to talk about machine learning,
Okay.
they I think they understood because of their experience. They understood that if I am knowing the basics, I will
Yes.
definitely be able to program them.
Code it.
Because
Yeah. Right.
machine learning is what importing certain libraries, feeding them data, and getting some insights.
Right. Right. Right.
So they didn't take any programming test. Ki, this is the problem. How will you solve it? They
Mm,
were more into the basics, application. How will you apply? Because once you know how to do it, you will be able to code it.
mm.
But to answer your question in specific, no, they didn't.
Okay. And anything related to SQL? Like normally, I have seen that for data analyst roles, at least they expect Python, SQL, and other concepts. But yeah, anything on SQL?
No, nothing.
Okay,
To
nothing.
be honest, I didn't even do SQL that time. I learned it
Okay,
after I joined Kotak.
okay, okay. So they were mainly checking your concepts, how good you are in the concepts of machine learning and deep learning, right?
Yes, and how well you are able to present yourself, how confident you
Yes,
are.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
I forgot one thing. In first round, the product manager guy asked one more question.
Okay.
Rapid fire round. He
Oh,
asked me ki you want to develop some product for women from the rural areas.
okay.
You don't have to think a lot. Just give me 5-10. Quickly, you give me 5-10 products which you think will work there.
Oh,
So I don't remember what I told for that answer, but I was
right,
able
right.
to give whatever was coming to my mind. I was telling
Yes,
him.
yes, yes.
This was a rapid fire round which he had.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So there was no official HR round for this profile.
No, no HR round
Yeah,
was
in
there.
the third round, of course, they talked about like whether you are culturally fit for Kotak or not. But yeah, there was no official
So
HR round. Yeah,
I think the official HR round was taken by the senior leadership itself.
right. The third round, the last round,
Third
right?
round, last round, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, and that was a very like very short interview. Like as you mentioned, it was only 5 6 minutes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I
Yes,
think they
yes,
were
yes.
impressed by the other two rounds, how you had performed in those two rounds, and it was easy for them to take a call. So yeah. Yeah, Himanshu. So Himanshu, yeah. So, but like, we can talk a bit about like you mentioned the skills and the expectations for this role when you were applying for this profile. Now you joined. You are working in Kotak for I think more than a year now. So not more than a year. I think yeah. In this July you will complete 1 year. So yeah, like so now what are you doing? Like, what is your job like? What do you do on regular basis in Kotak?
Okay, nice question, Sudhakar, because majorly, like whenever we sit in campus placements, the
Yes.
companies have some requirements, and when you join, those requirements can change, and you have to adapt to it.
Yes.
So, so yeah, very interesting thing happened to me. So I joined as a product manager who was supposed to do some AI/ML, handle some AI/ML products, and do some AI/ML in person. But a new requirement came for the bank that time, which was very critical.
Okay.
We wanted to build a platform first. Okay, to get the data to apply AML, we should first have a platform. So
Yeah.
initially, like most of the banks do some vendor-based thing. If they have to do something, they will hire and pay vendors. They will do for you. Okay,
Okay.
but then the new management came and they decided to do things in-house. So I had to transition into the role of a software developer actually.
Okay.
So currently in Kotak, I haven't done much machine learning. I have been doing the backend engineering.
Okay.
So my tech stack currently is Java, Spring
Okay.
Boot, and
Yeah.
other related technologies related to backend. So this is
Okay.
what I do, like build APIs, test APIs,
Oh.
and so on,
Okay.
so on and so on.
Okay.
So yeah, this is what I do currently.
Yeah, so we can talk a bit about this thing also that you would also have seen the situation that like students from core department, like for example mechanical, chemical, energy sciences, metallurgy, and many other such departments. I have seen that they want to get into the area of AI, ML, data scientist, data science, and these roles they want to get into these type of roles. So, but sometimes they don't have a clear path, like which they should opt for and how they can transition into these roles. So any advice, like because you have done well, like you did your bachelor's in chemical, MS in chemical, and now you are in like you cracked the role of an AI/ML profile and you are into software development. So how should one prepare for this transition?
So I strongly believe that in modern times, whatever branch or department you are from is just like what is on paper. Okay. So आप केमिकल के हो, मैकेनिकल के हो, सिविल के
Yes.
हो,
हाँ
आई डोंट
हाँ
थिंक
हाँ
कि वो डिसाइड करता है कि आपका टेक स्टैक क्या है। आपको
right.
जिस चीज में इंटरेस्ट है, यू कैन डू इट। अब
Yeah.
नहीं मिला तो मैं कंप्यूटर साइंस तो क्या करोगे? क्या छोड़, आपका इंटरेस्ट छोड़ दोगे क्या?
अब जान तो नहीं दोगे ना?
Especially, yeah, especially if you manage to get into IITs,
हम्म,
there too, like people don't care about branch. केमिकल वाला जो है जाके सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट कर रहा है,
ये कोर्स कर
मैकेनिकल
रहा
वाला
होता है,
जाके
हाँ।
डेटा साइंटिस्ट कर रहा है।
Right,
They
right.
have courses which are open. You can take any courses in any
Yes,
department.
yes.
You take it up, you build your skills. इतना
Right.
बड़ा सा वाइड स्प्रेड alumni नेटवर्क होता है,
Correct.
और सेम इंटरेस्ट शेयर करने वाले लोग होते हैं. You can join those coding clubs, analysis clubs, analyst clubs, and you can build up on your skills. And yes, not to talk about the digital resources,
Yes,
platforms like YouTube, Coursera,
yes,
edX,
yes, yes.
this Udemy. You can learn
Udemy.
anything you want. But if you want to transition, uh, I'd say कि you need to start learning. You first need to figure out कि why you want to transition.
Correct.
You don't like that branch, you like that thing more or what? Because mostly people will think यार सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट में पैसा बहुत मिलता है, डेटा साइंटिस्ट बन जाऊंगा पैसा बहुत मिलेगा, कोर जॉब में पैसा नहीं मिलेगा. So,
Hmm.
but that doesn't work in the long run. अगर आपको
Yes.
आता
यस,
नहीं, इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, केवल पैसे के लिए
इंटरेस्ट नहीं
भागोगे
आएगा
तो
तो
फिर
राइट,
तो फिर मजा
राइट।
नहीं आएगा आपको एंड
और
में।
वो 1-2 साल की बात नहीं है ना, इट्स अबाउट योर नेक्स्ट 20 टू 30 इयर्स ऑफ करियर। तो वो
या
1-2 साल की बात तो है नहीं।
और वहां तक पहुंचने के लिए भी जो डेडिकेशन चाहिए होता है कोई नया
हाँ,
स्किल सीखने के लिए, आप नहीं
राइट।
निकाल पाओगे।
हुँ,
तो यू विल फील लॉस्ट कि यार कोर भी नहीं आ रहा है, दैट आल्सो नहीं आ
हाँ,
रहा है, व्हाट
हाँ,
शुड आई डू? So first of all, you need to figure out what you want to do. Too many things are out there. What you want to do.
यस,
First, you once you have figured that out, then you need to connect with people. LinkedIn is a very good platform. आपको जो करना है, आप जो बनना चाहते हो, search for that role, search for that company, search for the people who are preparing for that. प्रोफाइल देखो उनका, what they are doing. जो अच्छा लगे उसमें से 100 प्रोफाइल में से जो अच्छा लगे, you do that course, you build that skill. जो आपको अच्छा नहीं लगे, ignore it. So that is
हुँ,
one thing. Second thing is कि from my experience when I was in IIT Lucknow, so I feel कि in IITs this kind of interdisciplinary
यस,
behavior and environment is more as
या,
compared to other colleges. So in
डेफिनिटली,
IIT Lucknow, I was mostly completely into chemical engineering.
करेक्ट।
फर्स्ट ईयर में जो कॉमन कोर्सेज होते हैं उसमें
हाँ,
हम लोग का प्रोग्रामिंग सी वगैरह होती है।
हाँ, हाँ,
तो आई
हाँ,
स्टार्टेड
हाँ,
डूइंग सम कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग, बट एज यू गो इन द सेकेंड ईयर थर्ड ईयर ना, यू आर नॉट एबल टू कंप्लीट इट बिकॉज ऑफ द अदर प्रेशर। तो
राइट,
बहुत सारे प्रेशर होते हैं, प्लेसमेंट, गेट, हायर एजुकेशन करें, जॉब करें, क्या करें। तो इन दैट काइंड सेंस लाइक वहां पे तो आई वाज प्योरली इनटू केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग एंड टेक्निकल कोडिंग से रिलेटेड व्हाटएवर आई न्यू वाज मैटलैब एंड आई वाज
ओके,
लाइक decently good in it. But
ओके,
once I came to IIT, that happened. So in IIT Madras, my Professor Tarak Patra, he works in the field of AI/ML and
ओके,
simulations.
ओके,
So there, that distinctions fades कि आप chemical engineering में हो तो आप केवल chemical. There are people who will do core chemical
हाँ,
engineering.
हाँ,
There
हाँ,
are people who will do computational chemical engineering. There are
राइट,
people who
राइट,
will do AI/ML and everything there.
यस,
So
यस,
since I was a tech guy, I
ओके,
wanted to know more about AI, ML, and everything. So I took a joint masters under my professor, who was doing very good machine learning. And
ओके,
I took one course in second semester. He taught us data science, molecular science, informatics, like that. The course was there. So
हुँ,
there he taught how we can apply machine learning into
यस,
material science and chemical engineering.
या,
And there's a very funny story. So in the first assignment, na, he taught us the theory and everything. The first assignment he gave was he gave us a data set कि ये डेटा सेट है, ये करस्पॉन्डिंग उसके प्रॉपर्टीज है, मॉडल बिल्ड करो, रिग्रेशन मॉडल, प्रिडिक्टिव मॉडल बिल्ड करो।
हुँ,
एंड टू बी ऑनेस्ट मुझे पाइथन नहीं आती थी। इन
ओह!
माय बीटेक आई थॉट कि डेटा साइंटिस्ट या सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर थोड़ी बनना है, पाइथन का क्या करूंगा, मैटलैब आता है बहुत है। तो
हुँ,
आई रिमेम्बर टेकिंग अ 3 hours क्रैश कोर्स ऑन यूट्यूब। उसके बाद आई टुक वन कोर्स ऑन कोर्सेरा, जिससे मेरे को काफी नॉलेज आया एंड आई
हुँ,
स्टार्टेड बिल्डिंग द मॉडल। एंड दिस इज हाउ आई लर्न थ्रू प्रोजेक्ट्स। कोई प्रोजेक्ट होता था, आई यूज टू वर्क ऑन दैट। अब उसमें वर्क करने के लिए जो भी स्किल सेट चाहिए होती थी वो यूट्यूब वगैरह पे सर्च करके
हुँ,
गेन करता था, अपने सीनियर से बात करके सीखता था। एंड आई यूज टू अप्लाई। सो माई लर्निंग वाज मेथोडोलॉजिकल, जो जरूरत पड़ती थी वो चीजें पढ़ता था और
हुँ,
उसके बारे में डीपली पढ़ता था।
हुँ,
तो इफ यू आर समवन हु वांट टू ट्रांजिशन, दिस इज वन ऑफ द स्टेप्स यू कैन टेक।
राइट,
आइडेंटिफाई, उसके
यस,
बारे में जो रिलेवेंट लोग हैं उनको पकड़ो,
हुँ,
स्किल्स डेवलप करो और प्रोजेक्ट्स करो। इफ यू आर नॉट इनटू आईआईटी एंड कोई रिसर्च नहीं कर पा रहे हो, डजंट मैटर, देयर आर मेनी वेबसाइट जहाँ पे डेटा
यस,
सेट वगैरह
यस,
अवेलेबल है,
हुँ, हुँ,
जाके आप
हुँ,
करो।
हुँ, हुँ,
देन सॉफ्टवेयर, रिगार्डिंग सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट, आई हैड नो आइडिया कि आई विल एवर बी अ सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर। कभी कभी मन करता था कि लेट्स बिकम अ सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर, बट देन बहुत सारे लर्निंग कर बहुत सारा था,
हुँ,
डीएसए पढ़ो, एसक्यूएल पढ़ो, क्या क्या पढ़ो, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पढ़ो। बट I'd say I got lucky कि Kotak made me transition into this role. So I skipped those things, those interview things. It would
या,
be very difficult to crack. So I got lucky कि I got into this role. And once I got into this role, again I started the same person. जो people expert थे,
हुँ,
already जो SDs थे उनसे बात किया, कहाँ से पढूं, क्या पढूं, resources extract किए, पढ़ा बैठ के, अप्लाई करके देखा, फिर जो काम आया था उसको करना शुरू किया। आई रिमेम्बर जो मैंने पहली पुल रिक्वेस्ट बनाई थी, उसको तुरंत रिजेक्ट कर दिया गया था। फिर बाकी सीनियर से बात करी, क्या दिक्कत है, कैसे करो, करते 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 इट्स अ प्रोसेस, आई एम स्टिल लर्निंग एंड इट्स अ कंप्लीट लाइक, हमेशा लर्न करना रहता है। और आई एम स्टिल लर्निंग, सीख रहा हूँ, कुछ चीजें अच्छी करता हूँ, कुछ चीजें नहीं करता पाता हूँ तो पूछता हूँ। तो बट बेसिकली द फंडा इज दिस ओनली, कि दिस इज हाउ यू शुड,
Yeah.
this is how you can connect.
Yeah.
Branches can never define who
हाँ
you are.
हाँ
So
हाँ
I know many people like when people ask me कि तुम केमिकल इंजीनियर हो, बीटेक केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग में किया, तुमने मास्टर्स केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग में किया, मशीन लर्निंग करा, तुम्हारा रोल प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर का है, कर तुम रहे हो कोडिंग यहाँ पे बैठ के, लाइक चल क्या रहा है। तो बट ऐसा होगा, बट what I mean to say is
हाँ
कि
हाँ
your role, your department, your
yes
education can't
हाँ
define
हाँ
who you are. It's what you want to do,
yes
what
yes
what fate pushes at you, and how you accept it. That's all.
right
That's it.
हम्म, हम्म। हाँ मतलब जिसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट है वो ज्यादा मैटर करता है, वो व्हाट लाइक जो आप लॉन्ग रन में आपको करने में अच्छा लगेगा वो ज्यादा मैटर करता है। या सो आई थिंक या लाइक यू हैव मेंशन कि इतने सारे रिसोर्सेज हैं एंड वंस यू गेट इनटू सम आईआईटी तो और भी लाइक लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटीज ओपन अप फॉर यू, लाइक डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट से कोर्सेज आप कर सकते हैं। और अगर आप नहीं भी आईआईटी पहुंच पाए तो उस केस में फिर यू कैन यूज ऑनलाइन रिसोर्सेज हैं, कैगल हैं, बहुत सारे वेबसाइट्स हैं जहाँ पे चीजें ओपनली
Exactly.
अवेलेबल हैं। You can take part in competitions, build models, कर सकते हैं definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think yeah, like I believe we have covered a lot of things, and I got to know so many things from you, like about this profile and how one should get into if they are aspiring for these roles. How should one prepare for? So thank you so much for explaining this thing in great detail, and I hope that this will definitely help the upcoming students, those who aspire for these roles. So yeah, thank you so much for sparing time and sharing things in great detail. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sudhakar, for this opportunity. I hope this helps someone who is preparing for or targeting these roles or looking for a branch switch or something like that.